Hello and welcome to another author interview. I'm your host, Josiah Akhtab, site manager with 7 Story Publishing. And yes, we are doing an interview on a Thursday. So, schedule opened up a little bit. So, got some more times that, hey, you know what, let's do an author interview twice a week. And here we have Margarita Artista. She is a fantasy author and the first author uh, that I'm conducting an interview with on a Thursday. So cheers for that.
Very
And
honored.
yeah, just introduce yourself to the would-be crowd. You can
Sure.
pretend they're there.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Thank you so much.
No
Pleasure to
problem.
be here. Thank you for having me. I'm Margarita Artista. I'm a Canadian romantasy author. My big series that I'm sort of working on is the Phoenix Keeper series, but the first book is out. It's the Phoenix Keeper in the City of the Sun. And the second book will be out this spring. So I'm very excited about that and very excited to chat with you
All
on this
right.
Thursday.
Oh man, second book coming out this spring. All right, working fast, I see.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Most authors is like, all right, this book is out. I need at least a year break.
It's been
Maybe I'll
so
work on the book
City of
next
the
year.
Sun came out last November, so I
Oh,
had
okay,
my
okay. Got you. All right. I was under the impression it just came out, and then
no.
oh, I'm like, whoa, you right? Who write books that fast? I'm like,
Not that fast. I wish.
uh,
I wish.
I'm like, not even Stephen King does that. Like, he takes
No.
at least 8 months to do it.
8 months is the bare minimum. Yeah.
Yeah. All
For sure.
right. So, tell the people a little bit about your novel, Phoenix City. Wait, Phoenix Keeper in the City of the Sun.
You got
Oh,
it. There you go.
okay, got it.
Could I have picked a more complex title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would be delighted. So it follows Seraphine. She is a young woman who is starting university in San Diego. And while she's there, she hatches a phoenix, which was not in her plans. And this phoenix now being hatched links her unexpectedly to Felix Clarkson. He's the son of a wealthy business conglomerate, and he's very strange, and they don't very much like each other at all. So it becomes sort of this forced proximity, slow burn, a little bit of found family with her friends at the university as well. And just a lot of themes of sort of class differences and having to deal with people that you don't quite enjoy. And later on in the story, they reveal some truths about their second identity, I should say, that they didn't quite know was possible, and now they have to discover or decide whether or not they want to discover more, pursue those truths, even at the expense of possible risk or danger, and navigate the relationship with each other along the way. So it's definitely, I would say, a whimsical, fun ride. It's urban fantasy, so fans of real world with magic in it, you'll love this book, I hope. And there is a magic system, and if you're looking for that, and you can call it enemies to lovers in a sort of way, but it is very, very slow burn. So which is something that I personally enjoy, and that's why I did it. So
Okay, got you.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not much of a romance guy, but
Yeah, fair enough.
uh, like personally, I just prefer like the action and thriller is like. It's
Totally.
like, I mean, when it comes to like that type of stuff, where like I notice it, like I'll read a story and I see like, and I'll
Yeah.
just roll my eyes a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me guess. They don't like each other. This lasts for like 300 pages, and then finally they reveal something, and then it's like, oh my god, it's like just
Yeah.
get that part over. Like I'm here for the action. I'm here for the adventure. I'm here for that. Like, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, and that's
So,
fair. I know a lot of readers who are like that. A lot of readers, don't. For me, I could never, like, I was always a reader growing up, but as like a young teen, like child, I never could read a book that was just romance. Like I had to have something else that was happening, like in terms of plot.
right.
And I'd like the romance like intertwined with the plot a little bit, for sure.
Yeah.
So kind of like I totally hear what you're saying. Like everybody has their preferences, and but I do think in terms of my story in particular, the reason for the romance, it highlights some events that are going to take place later on in the series that would have had a very different perspective if they weren't romantically involved. So I think that's why there is a part of it that is linked to the story. I'll say
got you. I mean, yeah, like I totally get it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's just like, you know, a lot of authors would like, because they like romance,
Yeah.
like they would insert it into the story to the degree it's unrealistic.
Yes.
Kind of why I shy away from like,
Sure.
I'm like, okay, come on, like, no, but if it's like a part of the story and it kind of goes with the plot, and it's like, okay, it makes sense that they would be together after they went through this and had this moment here and in this moment. I'm like, okay, cool, okay, it makes sense that they get married. You know, they've been through a lot of shit. You know,
trauma bonding.
He took a bullet for her. You know, she sliced somebody's throat for him. I mean, hey, look, you know, like somebody does that for you, you gotta marry him, right? Like,
you gotta marry him. Yeah.
You know?
It's basically a proposal.
Right? I mean, you know, I get that, but if you're just putting it in just to have it in there, it's like, okay, like, come on.
That's fair. That's a fair point. That could be said for a lot of different plot points, I think. But like, if it's there just to be there and it doesn't really add anything to the story, and I might be guilty of this myself. I don't really know. Sometimes I think, you know, it's explained why something's there, and then my readers will be like, I have no idea why she did this or why she had to explain this much. I'm like, oh, clearly it wasn't clear enough. But I agree. Sometimes it is frustrating if you don't, but perhaps if you either it's there but you don't understand it, or it's just not there. It's not for any particular reason at all. So I get that.
Okay. So is this like your debut novel, or is this the one that you're like just trying to push because it needs to be pushed?
So it is my debut. Into a while ago, I tried to do some like poetry and stuff like that, just to kind of test out. I was originally self-published, so I wanted to test out the Kindle publishing system, and I published some of my poetry, and that's no longer really available. It's not really the direction I wanted to take artistically. So this series I've been working on since I was about 15 years old. I'm 27 now, so it's been a while making.
Oh yeah, definitely been a while.
Yeah. So it's my debut romantasy series, but I would consider myself more aligned with being a romantasy author than anything else I've worked on. I've done some children's books as well, which are really fun and neat, but this is definitely where my heart carries me for sure.
Yeah, I totally understand, you know.
Yeah.
It's just funny how, like, you know, new categories just emerge. Like I've never heard of romantasy until I came to like Instagram.
Totally.
And I started my Instagram and I was just, you know, trying to connect with people, grow my account. And I see Instagrams, it's like, oh, romantasy, you know, dark romantasy. This, I'm like, what is this?
I didn't know it was a thing either. I always thought I was like a fantasy action adventure romance novel until I came and I was like, oh, romantasy makes sense. That's like, I think it really started with book talk for sure, and then like the rise of sort of our book talk favorites in the genre. Of course, that Court of Thorns and Roses, and From Blood and Ash, and you know the Kindred's Curse series. All of those things. I think they kind of paved the way for it to be a little bit more talked about, that there's a specific subgenre of fantasy in which you are going to get like a relatively expected storyline, and that there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, predictability in that sense is what makes it easy to, as a reader, say like, okay, it has these 4 things that I like, so I'm probably going to enjoy this. So I think that's kind of where the term, though. I agree, though it is a fairly new term.
Yeah, I've never seen it, and then I just started seeing it everywhere. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then there's a lot of like, you know, a lot of unhinged content around it, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, okay, a lot of smut, right?
Yeah.
Like that's, kudos, but like I think you guys are a little like I get the I get the hidden repressed, you know, fantasies that you have, but like
totally.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting though, because I think it depends on the level of spice in the content and all of that stuff, but I think it is actually kind of freeing in a way. Like a lot of it is it's beneficial, because I think a lot of women are able to sort of explore their sexuality a little bit more. I mean, I don't know, in the context of where people have grown up, but
Yeah.
a lot of times, in my high school experience was like, don't have sex, because if you have sex, you'll get pregnant and die. Like that was, it was a very strange sort of sex education. And I should say that was middle school, and then I switched schools, and then the sex education there was better. But it's still, I think a lot of women in particular, there's some men as well, especially in the LGBTQ plus community, but I think a lot of women feel sexually repressed, and that we're not supposed to enjoy sex, and that we're not supposed to, have these fantasies, or it's supposed to be like, something you do with your husband or your significant other if you don't have a male partner. And less in that case, I would say, because I think women in, relationships with other women or non-binary folks, they have, a little bit more permissiveness with sex and sexuality that they've explored with, their sexuality, which is amazing and it's great. But I think for heterosexual women, a lot of times, we come from a place, especially growing up in society, and then you hear all of the, she's dressed like a slut, she's dressed like a whore, and then like compounded on whoever has like a family that, their family growing up, their upbringing, so many things play into it. So I think overall, I think combining, sexual scenes or spicy scenes with that like fantasy sort of view, I think it allows women to escape. It gives them permissibility and vulnerability to escape, not only into a world where you've got like dragons, but there's like a hot guy with wings, and it's okay to have sex with him, I guess. Like it's and I think it is good. I think it's a good thing, because I think a lot of women are taking back their own pleasure. And I think that's really important going forward, because especially in the state. I would never thought in 2025, we're in 2025 now, I never thought we'd still be kind of fighting for, our ability to even talk freely or openly about sex. But I know in the United States, they're talking about like book bans and stuff like that. And that to me is a little bit crazy, not even a little bit, it's a lot crazy and stuff. So I think having that, and it is powerful to be able to like own one's sexuality and be able to, sort of enjoy it. And yeah. So I think there is a cultural importance to the inclusion of smut. I do agree that there's some things out there that are even a little bit wild for me. To each their own, right? Everybody has their own preferences.
Definitely.
So it could be worse.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm laissez-faire, live and let live. Totally. Just don't infringe on other people's rights and stuff like that, and we're okay. That's all.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, so all right, as an author, like what are some of your favorite tropes when it comes to like, reading or writing, a story?
100%. Definitely like enemies to lovers is a classic, one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Found family, I love the sense of it could either be like through the forced proximity or something like that, or because they generally have like a connection that when the character the character forms like a close bond in a platonic way with a lot of people, or even just a group of people. I find that really, really sweet and endearing. I love slow burn, obviously, and anything to do with like dragons or mythical creatures or anything like that, I adore. I love also Who Did This to You? So that one.
I probably do, but I've never heard that.
Usually somewhere in the story, and especially it's very prominent in like a lot of enemies to lovers books. It's the point where you realize like the male enemy usually is becoming like the love interest, and sometimes it's a female, but it's usually when the main character has been injured in a way that prompts the other character to go, "Who did this to you?" And like that's the classic line, but it's that they're seeking retribution for the main character, and that is a pretty clear indication of their feelings towards the main character. So
okay, got you. So, okay, I got you. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, personally, like, cause like my background in writing is more like it's more like the classical literature
Sure.
aspect, whereas like we have
Sure,
different
yeah.
terms for everything.
I love, you know what I love actually
Yeah,
is I realize this is the term for it. It's the he who rejects the call, like
yeah.
when you have the hero and then the
It's the
call
hero's
goes
journey.
where
Like
you
that's
live.
the whole that's the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I like
Hero's
that
journey.
one.
It's
I like
like
the names for them.
yeah, it's like a lot of people would have these, and I'm like, have these like, specific moments in the story, and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, this is my favorite trope. I'm like, that's just part of the hero's journey. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's just part of that whole thing, like
Yeah.
like they'll have scenes like, oh, we're the same, you and I. Where
Yeah.
like the two opposing characters, like
Yeah.
they're having that preliminary conversation before they fight, and
Totally.
you realize that they're not really different. They're just
Yeah.
two sides of the same coin. And
100%.
then you have that moment like, oh yeah, who did this to you?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
then one character goes seeking retribution for the other. And then
Yeah.
they have that, moment in the rain where they're forced to admit their feelings for each other and then finally have that kiss that everybody's been waiting so long for,
Totally.
like
Yeah.
things like that. So yeah.
I do
So,
like the classic hero's journey. I mean, there's a reason why it's so successful, right? Like everybody kind of likes to enjoy that I do like twists and plays on the hero's journey. I will say, like when the author does something I didn't expect,
oh yeah, definitely,
to
definitely.
the hero's journey. But yeah, I'm pretty open minded. There aren't very many tropes that I don't care for. I will say that the pregnancy trope is a little bit, and I don't mean like if a character gets pregnant in the story that's necessarily like something that turns me
Yeah.
off, but I don't like when the solution to the problem is having a child. Like I'm like when has a child ever made it? It's usually to fix a relationship problem or to
Yeah.
break or it's usually used in like the female character really doesn't want to have a child and then she ends up pregnant accidentally or something and then now she's like suddenly okay with it. Like that doesn't happen in real life. It's
Yeah, it doesn't.
not
Like someone
children
gets
don't
pregnant, they're
fix
like,
things
oh shit. It's
and they
either
shouldn't be they
abortion
shouldn't be
or
harmed
like
for sure.
adoption is either one of those.
Yeah.
So I
No,
was like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm gonna keep it. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, it's not really how that works.
No. No, 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 no. And it implies that children are tools. And I feel like that's I mean again, I've spoken about how I'm very open-minded in terms of taboo topics in books. And not I do agree that not just because an author includes something in their book doesn't necessarily mean that they're promoting that thing. It could just be that they
Right.
want to spark a discussion about it. And that's totally fair. But it just like kind of leaves an icky taste in my mouth when that happens because
Oh
it's
yeah.
like I feel like it taints the story a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh
It's a
man.
personal preference, though. I know
Yeah,
people who love it. So
everybody has
obviously
their
people must love it because they keep doing it. So
right. So somebody likes it, like,
yeah,
hey, put it out
someone's
there.
gotta like it.
Somebody gonna like
Yeah.
it. That's the goal, just trying to find your people.
Yeah.
Oh man. So like what's one thing as a writer that kind of like, drives you up the wall? I mean, it could be either when you're writing or when you're reading something. Like what's one thing
Mm.
that just like why did they do this? Or like,
Yeah.
why?
When I'm reading another book or like within my own writing or
Either or both, however you want to expand upon the question.
if I you know what happens to me a lot in my writing is I tend to have like the scene I'm working on and then I'm not quite sure what to write next in the scene, but I have the next like 4 ready, but that gap scene is
Yeah.
missing and I don't quite know how to get from scene A to scene C. That really frustrates me. It's kind of like my biggest form of writer's block that I get, and I can be stuck on it for days, and it can really lag my writing process because I have. And it's funny because I could technically do like filler, whatever, and then get to the next scene. But for me, if it's not flowing, if it's not making sense, it really like irks me to my core. Like I won't stop thinking about it. So
Right.
I need to like get it sorted out, even in draft form, and just put it in there so that I can link the scenes, because I fall a lot of the story. I would call myself a plantser. Like I have the point form of like everything that's supposed to happen in the entire series from like when I was 15 when I started, but a lot of it has changed, and so I keep like, you know, scattered notes everywhere. My brain's a mess, and post-its and stickies and notebooks and everything, and I have everything. It's just like somewhere.
Yeah.
So sometimes like I'm just flying by the seat of my pants because I'm like, this actually makes more sense. Like I'm gonna do this, or I actually like this better. This is going to happen now. Like, so it really interrupts my unplanned planning process if I don't have that link.
Oh man. I don't know. Like I am a complete pantser.
Yeah.
You know, complete pantser. I have it sorted out in my head, but
Yes.
like, you know, I don't know, like I don't know, like that I can actually relate to that a little bit, whereas like one scene's missing, but you have like the next 8 ready.
Totally.
But for me, it's not that the scene is missing, it's just that I gotta gauge how much work I'm willing to put in order to link it.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yeah.
more like
Or
it's
like
more like
in your
I
head.
can go like, all right,
Yeah.
3 pages and then link it here.
Yeah.
Or I could flesh it out and then add like another 10 pages to where it'll totally make sense. It didn't go.
Or you can see it like in your head. I get it, like almost like a movie in my head sometimes, but I can't, like the movie to words is not happening. Like if the brain connections are not happening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I get that too. I totally relate. It's so frustrating.
I mean, yeah.
I step away from the computer when that happens. Usually, I'm like, I need to go for a walk or something.
I just stopped writing for the day. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yeah.
All right. But sometimes
maybe by tomorrow, you know.
Or watching a movie or watching a TV show or something, I find that helps because that inspiration sometimes comes back. Like, I find myself very inspired by other work and stuff that I watch or engage in or listen to, or music. So yeah, sometimes that helps. But other times, sometimes you just, oh, I'm sorry, my puppy's having a tantrum.
Yeah, you know.
He's like, I have an opinion on this too.
Right. Oh man. So like what's your like, you know, vision for like being a successful writer? Like in your opinion, like what type of life do you want to live as a successful writer?
Honestly, I just want to get to a point where like, you know, I can talk like a bunch of readers. I have my, you know, reader community, and I, you know, I go to book signings, and I can do talks and stuff like that about my books. Writing was never about the money for me. I always pursued it as sort of like a hobby that I really enjoyed. So it's not something that I mean, if it turns into something lucrative, like, obviously I will welcome that. I think anybody would be a fool if they didn't. So I would welcome that. And, you know, but I do enjoy my day job. I'm an evaluation specialist for a healthcare organization in my day job. So I really do enjoy that. And I find that very fulfilling as well. So could I foresee myself like quitting my job and then just, you know, writing full time? I think I could. Like, I think it would, but I think that would turn writing into more of a job for me rather than something that I really enjoy in a creative pursuit. And I worry about what that might do to my love for writing. So, but other than, I would just love to like connect with other readers around the world, hear their thoughts, you know, and I just want to continue writing and continue having people enjoy my books, like just the same way that my favorite authors, I enjoyed their books. And when they come into town for signings, I'm there. And so just really just wanting to bring people together. I think that's my sign of, you know, success. Okay. If I walk into a bookstore and I see my book, I get very excited. So
right. Oh man, I think any author would be like,
yes, this is it.
Oh yeah, that's an instant photo for the gram. It's just like,
oh yeah, totally. Walked in and here it is.
Yep.
Like, wait, people buy this?
Right? Like, They put it on their shelves. So like,
Yeah,
okay,
sure. Up to them.
right.
Good luck with
I'm
that.
sure it was supposed to be another book, but that copy accidentally got in there somehow.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
hey,
just don't know how that got there. Yeah.
yeah, Oh man. So, who's like your favorite author to read?
Ooh.
As of late.
Okay, so Sarah J. Maas is always a top. I love everything that she writes, always. But recently, I've actually gotten really into Penn Cole. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's written the Kindred's Curse series, and like literally, what were my top reads of 2024. The first two books, and I'm on the third book now, and I'm patiently waiting for anything to be announced about the
Right.
next book in the series. And she just has a very beautiful writing style. I think like she has a very there's beauty and simplicity, but I wouldn't call her writing simple. I think she has a very clever and witty way of writing where you have a clear image of what's going on, but it's not overtly descriptive. You have a clear image of, how people are feeling and like the emotions and things that are going on in a scene. But again, it's not like overtly written in your face so that you have to read the same words like 500 times.
Right.
I think it's just she has a very clever, um, passionate, and sort of impressionable way of writing, and it leaves a lasting. I remember listening to the audiobook in my car, and I had gotten to my destination, and I just kept driving around in circles, like around the parking lot, just so I could finish the chapter I was on because it was so
Right.
good. Like,
Oh man, someone can make you do that.
oh yeah.
Right.
It's absolutely, yeah, and it's a very that particular series is a very interesting story. Has a lot of like resonating themes with some of the themes that I like to write about and work with. So, I think it like on the surface level, it's a very very fun like romantic fantasy book, I should say. But deeper, it definitely has some like intentional political messages, and I think that's really great. I love when I see that in a book. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I haven't been reading fantasy recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been reading. Yeah, I just haven't. I don't know. I've just been. I oscillate between like fiction and then nonfiction. So
Nice.
I've been
Yeah.
in the nonfiction side for.
Nonfiction side. I wish I could get into there's some great ideas that people have, but I'm just not like sometimes I think it's my university days ruined nonfiction for me. Now I pick up a nonfiction book and I just have like I don't want to go back to
PTSD, like now
yeah.
I got the research paper.
Yeah.
Damn it!
I'm like, oh, I'm
And it's
missing out
due in
on so much
5 days.
knowledge.
Right? I gotta write a 10-page research paper. It's due in 5 days,
Oh
and it
God.
must be in MLA format. And it's just like
I got open a nonfiction book. Like, where's my notebook? I need to start taking notes. Let's color code this thing. Like,
yeah. I don't know. Honestly, in college, I never did any of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fair enough.
I just pick a couple pages, take
Yeah.
some BS notes,
Yeah.
write a paper on it. I don't care. Like,
there you go. It is what it is.
yeah, yeah.
The
Like,
professor has the book anyway. They should know.
right? They're
Why
like,
am I
oh,
writing?
and I mean, they give you the pages to read. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what does the author mean when they say da 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 da? I'm like, okay, cool. You
Yeah.
want me to write a 5-page filibuster about this one paragraph? I got you.
Yeah. And 5 pages for one thing that the author said is quite a lot.
I mean, oh, trust me, I can pull it off.
Okay, great.
I
Yeah,
pulled it
good for
off a couple
you.
times.
Yeah.
I pulled it off a couple times.
All that fluff.
But what I do is like, I'll take 5 passages, put a page on each passage. That's it.
Amazing.
There you go.
Love that. Love that. That's
oh man. But yeah. All right. So that's pretty much sums up, anything that I have to ask. So you can take this moment, promote, where can people find you, connect with you, get your book, get your next book, things like that, where they can find updates, just let the world know that Margarita Artista is here to stay. So
amazing.
Take it away.
Yes, I'm on Instagram and TikTok most frequently. It's at margarita.artista. And I'm with Azala Press, Azala Press. We are a women-owned small independent publisher, and we have a bunch of amazing authors on our team. So please check out my books through there as well as everybody else's. They're such a wonderful group of people, and they have some really, really great reads out. And I will be at Readers of the Valley in Arizona this January. I'll be there January 7th. I think it's 18th and 19th. So if you are there, come by, say hi. And my books should be available online on Amazon through Azala Press. And then I believe it's also in Barnes and Nobles and in Canada, in Indigo, in the Indigo Coles system. So yeah. That's amazing. And thank you again, Josiah, for having me. I really appreciate you giving me the floor. And I'm so excited to learn that you're an author. I don't think I knew that. So I would love to hear more about your books and like what you were doing and stuff.
I got a couple. Well, I have some short stories, some short story collections, and some novels out.
Okay, where can I find them?
You can find me on Amazon, like my name right here, Josiah Akhtab. Just search and you'll see, and you'll even see the new book that I have out, The Adventures of Fleeting Grace.
Amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm sure.
Oh, what a cover!
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah. I will add it to my TBR. And
never mind the gray. This is the proof copy. But,
okay.
Never mind the gray.
Okay. Well, I'll check you out. I would be interested to, and I'm assuming there's not a lot of romance in your books.
In The Adventures of Fleeting Grace,
okay,
at least in this part of it, it's there.
He's coming to the dark side.
It's there, but it's not the focal point,
Yeah, you got it. Fair enough.
Well, yeah. So I'd like to thank you again for coming on, and if you need anything else, just contact me again, and I'll help in any way I can.
Amazing.
And to you guys, see you on the next interview, and say bye to the crowd or the would-be crowd.
Bye, everyone.
Smile and wave.
Smile and wave.